a show that tackles the big issues affecting the BVI and the rest of the Caribbean. Searches for answers to today's big questions and gives viewers a unique perspective on developing stories. Follow the big story with me, Kathy Richards, only on JTV. This show is brought to you by the National Bank of the Virgin Islands, Cyril B. Ramney Tertola Pier Park, NV Salon Spa Nail and Barbershop, the Wellness Center, Medical and Behavioral Health Clinics, Ticely Cross Deliciously Smooth Cider, HOV Medical, and Digicel. Sign up for Digicel Plus Home Light Bundles, faster internet, movies, and sports. This is The Big Story. I'm Kathy Richards. I want to thank you so much for joining us for this edition. On set with me is someone who is very versed in the production industry. If you would recall, so often there are many persons, young people specifically, have been saying, they are interested in film production and other forms of production, an avenue which is not that available to the extent here in the Virgin Islands. But HLSCC, Havitista Community College, has been hearing those calls, and while they're doing different programs, they're bringing others in to help influence these young people. To that extent, I want to welcome Gordon, the Commissioner Williams, to our set. It's a pleasure to have you.
Yes, thank you for having me, Kat.
All right. Well, you have a big title to your name. When you hear the Commissioner, we think about somebody in command of something.
Yes.
Yeah. Give us a little background of who you are.
Well, as you said, Gordon Williams. So I'm a producer and engineer. I've been in the music business since it's funny to think about it, but since I was 17, I've been in the music business, and that's pretty much been it since. Most known probably for working with artists like Lauryn Hill or the Marley Family, Jay-Z, 50 Cent, Alicia Keys, Amy Winehouse, Quincy Jones, Will Smith, and a few others, Carlos Santana as well. So that's me. I'm a Grammy winner, and I'm also a Caribbean man.
Yes, the Williams in your name says it.
Yeah, so my dad was from Trinidad, actually from Tobago, and my mom was from St. Lucia.
Okay. So how you got into this industry?
Well, I started as a DJ actually, and it really is, with the advent of hip hop. I grew up in the Bronx in New York, so hip hop was something that we lived. It was outside. It wasn't on records when I was a little kid. So I used to hear it out my window, and you'd hear these guys scratching up records and rapping, and you say, I want to do that. But at that time, nobody really knew what that was. It was really more neighborhood, what we did in the neighborhood. As a matter of fact, it wasn't even really called hip hop then. I mean, people said that in their raps, but the whole thing as a genre wasn't really referred to as hip hop. So that was probably the first thing, as a DJ that made me want to get into music. But as an artist, like playing music and learning about musical arrangements was probably Bob Marley, hearing Bob Marley as a little boy.
Oh, what's your favorite instrument?
It's a good question. I don't know if I have a favorite. Maybe guitar is probably my favorite. I don't play it, but it's probably my favorite.
Okay. All right. So now the college has decided to invite you here to be of great influence to our young people, not only in the music production industry, but generally in production.
Yes.
I think you work with some others in
filmmaking
as well.
And art, photography. Yeah. And I work primarily in what's called the orange economy. And the orange economy, if you look it up, is actually music, film, fashion, art, and gastronomy, which is food. So it's really what we call the creative industry is what we call the orange economy.
Okay, and so you would have been here for a day or two, and you would have started to not only wait for the college session at the Eileen Parsons Auditorium, but you would have been visiting schools. You would have been talking with the management of the HLSCC. What those conversation has been like, and what has taken you by surprise, if any surprises at all?
Number one, how young the president of the college was. Oh my God. I thought he was a student when I'm sitting there talking with him. I said, "You got a PhD?"
Oh, don't be blushing now.
Yeah, he's a very, very skilled and wise young man, and I had a great meeting with him. And what really surprised me was the facility, the extent of the things that I saw already. Is really well equipped, well staffed. Everybody was so mannerable, polite, accommodating. The students, everything. It was just a very for that to be day one. It was a wonderful day one. Yeah.
At the Virgin Islands School of Technical Studies.
At both, at the college and at the Virgin Islands.
What it is that you were hearing most from those kids? I know those young people there are very, very liberal.
Yeah, it was no joke. They asked some questions where I had to stop for a second and say, "Okay, you really want the answer to that question?" It was like, "Okay, I'll tell you," but they were just concerned about things that they've seen or heard, that misconceptions. And honestly, that's also what's helped pull me more into this work, because I get the same questions everywhere I go. It's not just here in the Virgin Islands. It's everywhere. I got into education wanting to help young people, wanting to help somebody that looked like me, who went through what I went through, but I never had a me to talk to me. Like I had to go figure it out and bump my head and mess up some things, and and then find my way. So when I got into it, it was really more about that. It wasn't really with a focused plan. It's been over 20 years that I've been doing this work now, so now it has turned into
the education aspect
the education,
of it?
yeah. Aside from my entertainment walk, I've been there. So I'm a Goodwill Ambassador with the UN for St. Lucia. I'm the Orange Economy Representative Advisor for the UN CDF, which is a UN body that is working on helping me build studios and facilities around the continent of Africa to help develop young people, Africa and the Caribbean. So this is in line with that initiative, even though I don't know that the BVI falls in what the UN is doing. But me as an individual, this is somewhere that I'm interested in. I have a good friend, Topaz, who brought me here. And that's the reason I'm really here, is because Topaz was the one that's been pushing me to come down here, and he made the connection with the university, just like the stars lined up, because the university was looking for things and the timing, and Topaz pushing, and so I said, all right, let me come down and let's see. So that's basically
that's how the world goes. Somebody's got to know somebody.
Somebody to know somebody. Yeah,
happen,
that's true. That's entertainment. That's exactly how it works.
Since you would have been in this for so many years, the transition that we would have seen in this industry. How do you see it really influencing our young people, adversely or positively?
When you say transition, what do you mean? You talking about?
How the industry has evolved over the years.
Yeah, I think technology has evolved us in a good way and a bad way. In a good way that it's given us opportunities to be freer to do certain things that, say, the industry controlled, that you couldn't do as an independent person. But then it's also been a bad thing in that things are so promoted and so, it's just so much promotion and marketing that the truth gets lost in that. Wow. So I think a lot of the young people, like when you think about us coming up listening to music, we listen to music. Now they watch music. They look at people, they look at what they wear, they watch what they have, everything about it. So it's a different perception to them, and I think now the music itself gets lost, and now their questions about music are the things that interest me, because I can pull them back to say, well, why do you think that? You're talking about music. You're not talking about what his sneakers look like, or how much did his chain cost, or what his girlfriend is like. Are we talking about music, or are you talking about something else? And a lot of times, until they're challenged, they don't realize that. It's like, well, really, I am not really talking about music, and it opens a conversation, a dialogue.
Okay. Have you been able to make a comparison as to how it goes, or what it's like for the Caribbean region, and as opposed to like the United States and the United Kingdom and those places?
Yeah, I mean a little bit, because I've been involved in Caribbean music, working with the Marley family, through Lauryn Hill. I worked with, Stephen Marley, and Stephen is really how I got connected to reggae music just in general, and I've done a lot of work in that area, so it took me into kind of trying to understand, okay, well, how does this work? And then there's a big connection between hip hop and reggae music, so you could also see some of the parallels that existed there. And what we look at with the orange economy is that a lot of income is generated by the creative economy, but not much of that income goes back into the place itself. Like, it doesn't go back into the economy of the island, say, that the little artist came from. So now all this money goes to America, it goes to Europe. But what happens to the industry in Jamaica or the industry in the Virgin Islands? Where is that? Where is the structures? Because there's no infrastructure. And that's really where, aside from me looking at the young people, because that was my interest initially, it also switched to, then I need to help the infrastructure. And how do I help the country? Because if the infrastructure can make money and it can take care of the artists, because a lot of the artists aren't being taken care of, then okay, you can have a fee, you can have a little management cut, you can have a fee as a country. And what would that fee mean? Imagine if 1/20th of Bob Marley's income went to Jamaica. What would have that done to Jamaican government? What would that have done for music schools in Jamaica, a foundation? Imagine if a little bit of Sparrow's money went to Trinidad itself. You know what I'm saying? Not to somebody, the promoter, and to Trinidad itself, for music schools, to promote kids to keep learning music, to foundations. Now you're talking something different. And then you could also help take care of Sparrow too, because if there's a structure, he don't need to have to get ripped off by some manager or someone else, if the government itself. But it's an effort that has to be on both sides, and that's the dialogue that I look to kind of, push forward.
Are you happy with the number of persons that you now see from the Caribbean region advancing in the industry?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I think we've always been there. It's just nobody knew it, because we didn't get the attention. We've always been there from the beginning of the thing, I mean, if you look at someone like Harry Belafonte, who came from the Caribbean, and he had the first platinum record. So,
Harry Belafonte from the Caribbean.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
You didn't know that? You must know that, man.
All right,
you must know that, man.
You come back home.
I have to come back home. Mr. B, Mr. B from the Caribbean. That was a mentor of mine. But I mean, that's the first platinum record, if you think about it. He had the first one. That's the first platinum record. Exactly. Come on. Yeah, that's him. So, we've always been there. It's just, we need to be organized. We need that. We need structure. We need, it's no more time to talk about. The world is in a whole nother place now. You see what's going on everywhere, so I think music can be a very important healing tool, but we have to take care of it. And then we have to take care of each other. So if we can do that and then find ways to make the money, but take care of it, I think it can help.
Okay. Before we wrap up this very interesting conversation, because I don't want it all to be laid down here, but I need to leave some for the college. Let me more.
Yeah.
There is this thing that, you try to encourage artists to own your own.
Yes. Own. You said own.
Yes, own
exactly.
your own.
Yes.
Stick to your identity.
Yes.
You don't try to adapt that of another culture or another person, but holding it, talk to those persons.
Yeah, well, I mean, there was always a thing about originality, that was key. Like, if you look at Motown or you look at any of the old, the music that people say are the elder music, but the foundation of what we're all kind of doing, the Four Tops didn't sound like the Temptations. The Temptations didn't sound like the Jackson 5. The Jackson 5 didn't want to be Stevie Wonder. Stevie Wonder didn't want to be the Supremes. Like, no one, that wasn't even a thing. You had to be you, So where is that? That's what music and self-expression is really about. So we have to get back to that and be proud of where you come from. Be proud of the songs that you sing from where you come from, and do that as best as you can, and now turn that into something. But as soon as we all follow the leader, say that, so to speak, how do you have any variety? How do you have any, spice?
How
do you, it doesn't, life doesn't even work like that. So I don't think that's a realistic,
that's
pursuit.
so true. So VI artists, Hold your rhythm.
Yeah, hold the rhythm. Hold the rhythm. Tell them, hold the rhythm. I like that. Hold the rhythm.
Hold your
Yeah.
rhythm. So in this moment, as we close out, I want you to talk to the general audience. So why they need to come out to hear
On Thursday?
Thursday
Thursday night. Where are we going to be?
At the H. Lafferty Stout Community College.
Yeah, all right. You need to come out because we have a lot of interesting. Information that has to do with artists, but information that has to do with yourself, because I'm you. So I was a kid from the Caribbean who came up with a single parent home who just had a dream, and that dream was sparked by people who supported it, and it was all Caribbean. So I'm here to put a little bit of that and open myself up to be engaged with conversation and questions. So come on out. And we're going to make it happen.
All right, sis. No big lecture session.
No.
It's going to be a conversation.
A real thing.
Gordon Williams, it's such a pleasure having you on set.
Thank you for having me.
Sharing your heart with our persons in the industry who wants to be in the industry as well.
Yeah.
We look forward to Thursday.
Yes, thank you.
All right. I want to thank you for joining us for this edition of The Big Story. I'm Kathy Richards.
We know that where you choose to bank matters, and it is your vote on what your funds do in strengthening our community. As your official Bank of Paradise, we invest and support the lifeblood of our economy by helping in the realization of personal goals for homeownership, education, and entrepreneurial visions, which support small businesses. We make it our place to connect with persons and worthy causes, and we have been doing so for more than 30 years. Where your money goes and what your dollars empower are your choice. And we thank you for choosing us, a bank that gives where it matters the most, for you, for our community, and a happier tomorrow. The National Bank of the Virgin Islands.
Everyone looks to the future, but no one truly knows what the future holds.
The number of people under the age of 20 with type 2 diabetes could increase by 49% by 2050. Let it be known that we all have a 30% chance of developing hypertension.
Globally, more than 300 million people of all ages suffer from depression.
More than 60,000 young adults aged 20 to 39 are diagnosed with cancer each year. Obesity leads to problems such as stroke, heart disease, and kidney failure.
No matter your race, age, or color, we are all at risk.
These diseases can be managed or prevented if caught early.
But with the right medicine and the right doctors to keep us on a path to live a robust and healthy life,
we will live well.
Plug into Digicel Plus and get even more entertainment with Disney Plus included. The best of Disney, Pixar, Marvel, Star Wars, and National Geographic all in one place. Whenever you want, plug into Plus to enjoy Disney Plus and much more with a home fiber bundle. Sign up today. Digicel Plus.